I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar. My name is Miranda Buss. I am the Assistant Director for the Illinois PSM. I'm also a 2012 graduate of the program, so hopefully I can provide some insight for you today from both an alumni and as an Assistant Director. We also have with us today Grant Hansen and Tarsus Sousa. Grant, would you mind telling everyone just a little bit about yourself?
Originally, I was a molecular cell biology major at Illinois. Always did well in the sciences and originally thought I was doing the whole medical role and kind of doing that whole career path, but later found out that I did like business, I did like technology, just being able to see a lot of interesting idea and innovation being brought to market. So really, what I ended up finding was that the biology degree, I wasn't really considered a very serious candidate for, say, like marketing research or marketing analytic type positions, and just came across the PSM. I focused more of my coursework on statistics. I did a lot of work that was business focused, such as with this ECI score, which is a small business consultancy, kind of like a volunteer organization. And I also did my internship with a company called AmCall, where I did marketing research for a company that specialized in mineral-based innovation with laundry detergent, steel casting type materials. So at the end of it, I ended up at DuPont working in the crop protection business unit. And what I did there was just market research and market analytics around where our company stood with our customers, generating reports that told the business where we were in terms of concentration, which is basically saying if a customer is worth X amount of dollars, how much of it are we selling into that farm, and just working a bit with product development and project management. So yeah, right now, today, I'm with a company called United Suppliers, and we're actually a customer of DuPont, and I'm doing essentially the same role now, but I'm also working a bit more heavily in product development, where we are looking at just different ideas and different product or service-based concepts, looking at the value and seeing through the development and ultimately the execution of a first-year launch.
All right, well, thank you. Tarsus, will you also tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Tarsus Sousa. I'm a second-year student now in the PSM program, the Professional Science Masters in Bioenergy. I'm from Brazil originally, and I did my undergrad in biotechnology, worked there, did a year exchange program in the U.S., in Ohio last time, and then graduated in Brazil and came back to the U.S. for the PSM program here at the U of I.
Thank you, Tarsus. Today we're going to talk about a handful of things, the first one being what education looks like after a bachelor's degree. We'll obviously talk about the PSM. I'll open the floor to Tarsus and Grant to discuss some of their experiences within the program, and then we'll talk about the application process itself. I'm sure many of you have heard about the traditional master's or PhD-based programs, the research-based programs, that is. And both of those programs are very graduate research science-based. There are some classwork, but definitely a lot of that research. The traditional master's usually leads to those careers in guided research. Those are usually types of careers where you're working for somebody, someone else is telling you maybe what kind of research you're going to be doing. Whereas if you graduate with a PhD, usually you're doing your own independent research, maybe running your own lab, or becoming a professor within a university. On the complete other end of the spectrum is the MBA program, which is completely graduate level business courses, and usually those careers end up being in business with really little to no link in science. The last area that you could potentially have a graduate level degree is in a combined program like ours, or the Professional Science Master's program. We combine graduate level science and some of those business courses that you'd be getting out of an MBA. Our alumni are going into non-research positions, and they're really working at the interface of science and business. So most professional science master's programs are going to be around 75% graduate level science, and then 25% is going to come from the business side. So it's going to be different business classes and professional skills. The business classes can include things like business fundamentals, finance, project management, science and regulatory policy, and quite a few more. There's some flexibility. And then there's the professional skills that are developed through our weekly seminar series, as well as participation in professional organizations. The final piece of a PSM really is the experiential learning portion, so that internship piece that may also be something like some research or consulting projects. So how are students really using their degree in the workplace? And PSM graduates are excellent at combining the science and business sides of companies. I think they're quite vital. In many companies, there's very technical-minded people, whether that's a scientist, an engineer, etc., and they really might not know some of the business terminology that people in the marketing or sales department are usually using. The flip side, those marketing, sales, or business-minded people really might not understand some of the science that's in the company, and so it's really hard for them to market and talk about their products because they really are unsure of why they're even being developed and how they're really useful. So quite a few of our PSM students are finding themselves right there at the interface of the two. They can take those science principles and speak with business people, or they are talking with business people and trying to explain some of the basic science skills that they might not originally understand. So what I think this really means for students is there's a lot of options out there. Instead of looking at only a science career or only a business career, our students have the opportunity to really look at careers in both sides. Because they are pretty fluent in both technical and business knowledge, they're not having to learn that as much on the job. So they're not having that hurdle of learning about the company and learning business terminology all at once, which tends to lead to promotions within a company quicker, and that obviously has value to employers. So employers are really enjoying PSM students because they're not having to spend as much time with the onboarding process. They have people that can really understand the science and the business, so they have someone that can really help both teams flourish. Tarsus or Grant, do you have anything to add to that?
At least in my experience, sort of where I found my sweet spot was going after positions that had sort of a technical or a business-facing component to it, where I definitely brought in the qualification and the credibility to understand one component, which would be, say, the research component, and I was able to actually get a lot out of my science classes and have a pretty good head start. Well, I guess in short, it's just really positioning me for some of those roles where you either have to take a few years in sales to really pick up a lot of technical background, or you have to go through research and development and show some project management competency. So I feel like I actually skipped a couple of steps to get to where I landed.
Thank you, Grant. And as Grant mentioned, there are a wide variety of positions that are available to PSM students. And you'll see from this list there are some that are very science-based, such as an associate chemist, or you might see some that are more business-oriented, such as that sales manager or purchasing manager position. It might not appear so, but pretty much all of these positions are having our students combine both that science and those business skills. So some of the companies that our students have been employed with are this next slide here, and it's just a small sampling of where students have really ended up upon graduation. You can all see that there are large companies on there. There's also some small companies as well as a couple of startups, and in a wide variety of industries, anywhere from the seed and equipment side of things, some of the bioenergy companies, pharmaceuticals. One other thing I'd like to point out is that some of our students do work for universities upon graduation, maybe in a research lab, but one of the questions I had emailed to me was, can the degree lead to a PhD? And so that's another reason why I've left the university section in here, is we have had a few of our students that have decided to go on and do a PhD after the PSM program. If that is your plan, we do ask that you let us know on your application. We encourage all of the students who are pursuing a PhD after the PSM to go ahead and do research while they're here on campus. Having that research experience is really great for your resume if you plan on doing research, and it'll definitely help with the PhD application process. Likewise, when it comes to internships, our students are employed by a wide variety of places, some within the United States, and we have had some students that have decided to do their internships abroad as well. So there's a lot of different options out there for our students when it comes to finding internships. And since we're on the internship component, I was hoping that Tarsus could give us a little bit of insight of what looking for that internship looked like.
Sure. So the process of looking for an internship starts the first semester you get to the university. You start looking for businesses and companies that offer positions that are related to what you're interested in. And one thing I think is really important and interesting about the Professional Science Master's program is that you combine science and business. You get to get more of the technical background as well as the science background for you to apply for different positions that have science intakes and business intakes as well. I'd say that the process can take a longer time. I think the process is just like trying to look for different companies and trying to network with people that you may know, or that the program is helping you to get to know different people, like as PSM Leadership Board. And so you can get in contact with those and try to look for companies and apply online and connect through LinkedIn and other platforms, just like trying to find those positions and apply to different places. I guess the idea is to try and broaden your network.
And Grant, do you want to disclose a little bit of how you came across your internship as well?
I think Tarsus made a real good point of starting the internship hunt the minute you start your program. Essentially, what I did was go through the alumni directory, just kind of knowing that this wasn't going to be a very straightforward position that I was looking for. Say, unlike somebody coming out of accounting that knows that they're going to be a staff auditor and there's all kinds of very clean-cut, very well-defined positions for that, I knew that I was looking for something that was going to be a bit different, especially finding that out of an internship. And I mean, essentially, I got an interview actually out of the calls that I made from calling up the alumni. I got a lot of good stuff to talk about and consider when looking for internships. So, I mean, you know, the university has a lot of resources, the career fairs, of course, the job postings. So the career fair is where I found my internship. The postings for University of Illinois website is ultimately where I found my first-time job. But, you know, pretty well beyond that, I mean, even going as far as collecting lists of known agricultural companies, looking at small to mid-sized boutique consulting companies that catered to either the ag or the biotech or the pharmaceutical industry. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it is a big numbers game, and I had to learn a lot. I had to learn how to interview, and then when I got my chance, I was actually able to find the right internship experience, which I think this is kind of a common theme of the program. You really get to test out a bunch of different experiences to see exactly, or at least a good idea of what it is you're looking for, and then you kind of get to tailor your program to a direction where you think you really need to land in your career.
Thank you, Grant. You're correct. Our program definitely can be tailored when it comes to the classwork and to the internship opportunities and experiences that can really help a student achieve their career goals. However, one thing that we do not tailor about the program is the start time. Every single one of our students does start in the fall semester, and that is because they start as a cohort. Everyone here in the PSM office, along with the academic advisors, want to make sure that they can spend one-on-one time with the students, really helping them with their career paths, whether that's internships, full-time jobs, helping review resumes, cover letters, etc. And having a small group makes that more feasible. So, since everyone does start together in the fall, they're taking those classes together, getting to know each other a little more. They're continuing those studies through the spring semester. And then over the summer, they all kind of part their ways for a while they're doing internships. Most students are only doing internships over the summer. However, we do have some that opt to do a 6-month internship or co-op, which we now allow because we can extend the PSM program into a 4th semester option. And basically what that means is maybe a student wants to do a 6-month internship, or maybe they just want to have a little bit more time on the university to take classes or learn new things. Tarsus is one of our examples. And so those students, instead of graduating in the fall or December, like the majority of their cohort, they're actually going to stay a final spring semester, so a 4th semester, and then they will graduate in May. Grant and Tarsus have already mentioned a little bit about the career advice and professional development. Either one of you like to dive in and talk a little bit about those offerings on campus?
Yeah, I think Grant mentioned a lot of resources that happen on campus, which are really good. So you have career fairs that happen during the semester. You have career fairs that happen in the fall and spring that you can take advantage of. But one thing that I wanted to mention as well, there's a job website search on campus which is called iLink. You can go there and put your resumes there, apply for different companies, and that's how I found my internship for the summer. So I started applying. I took advantage of that website that the university offered and just applied for jobs there, and that's how I got my internship. But another resource that I also want to say is the Career Center. There are different career centers on campus. There's the main one for the whole university. There's the ACES, which is the Agricultural and Consumer Environmental Sciences, which most of the PSM majors are part of. And then you can take advantage of those by having interview practice sections, or you can have your resume reviewed. So these are just sources you can take advantage of during the time you're here to perfect your resume and know how to connect with people, positions, especially alumni as well in the program. Just how to approach them, how to ask questions, and learn more about their careers in order to develop your career path better.
All right, Grant, do you have anything to add to that?
Like I mentioned, the alumni lists are really helpful. A lot of these professionals, they're very tickled to have a student give them a call and give them an opportunity to talk about themselves and just kind of walk you through their experience. So, I had a lot of success with that as well.
Grant mentioned the alumni list or alumni directory, and that is a document that has all of our alumni that's ever been through the program, and it has things such as their contact information, where they did their internship, where they're currently employed, etc., maybe some of their interests as well. This really allows our students to get to know some people within the industry, especially those that have been through the exact same program that they have, so they automatically have connections to the industries that they're looking to go into as full-time careers. Another one of our industry resources is our advisory board, which was mentioned earlier. And our board consists of various people throughout the industries that relate to our programs. And really they're there to help us figure out if different science courses or business courses are the best options for our student to take, really how our program aligns with current industry goals, and just ways we can continually improve upon the Illinois PSM. One other thing I'd like to highlight is how flexible we are. Most of our programs only have 1 or 2 required classes, and then the rest are really up to you. And so I'd like to let both Grant and Tarsus discuss how flexible actually the program can be if you want it to be.
I would say a really good example of that, I discovered that database and learning the SQL language would be something that would help me, or at least put me in a pretty good position on my initial round of interviews. So after looking through the course catalog, I came across a course from the College of Business that was specifically focused on database management. After a bit of talking to both colleges, I was able to enroll in a business course, and it was pretty funny as they went around the room and they asked, okay, well, where's everybody coming from? Everybody was an accountant in there except for me, and of course I had to say plant biology and got a couple of chuckles out of that. But, as far as looking at the other courses that I was able to look into, I mean, I was able to take a lot of statistics courses. Even though I was in plant biology, I found a class in toxicology very interesting, and that was able to count. Also, my work for SCORE as a business consultant, I was actually getting 2 science credit hours a semester for that work as well. What I found, what I've heard from a lot of the other students is in working with your advisor, I mean, you could make a lot of different experiences count as your science credit, and you could also have access to a lot of classes, not just within the College of LAS or ACES, but you could also access business classes or even engineering classes from College of Engineering.
Yes, which leads right into Tarsus. I think Tarsus has taken a handful of engineering classes as well. So Tarsus, do you want to explain how you're using the flexibility of the program?
Yes. My background before I came into the program, I was more into research. I was doing biotechnology, so I had a lot of lab experiences, and I didn't have a lot of business experiences and engineering experiences. And so when I decided to dive into more of the bioenergy area of biotechnology, I thought it would be really interesting to dive into more of the business side. Coming here and looking at the classes that the university offers, I decided to dive into business as well, but also engineering courses, because I think in the bioenergy field, it's really important for you to know a lot of the engineering concepts. So I thought it was really interesting to dive into that. And looking at the classes the program was offering, I saw that flexibility, and I was able to dive into those engineering courses. And I think it's really interesting to say also that you can dive into different areas. Like for bioenergy, you can go into processing, or you can go into economics, or you can go into more of the research side of it. And that's what I thought was really interesting. I was really happy to be able to go more into learning the engineering side, which I didn't have a lot of background on, and that will help me for my future career.
All right, great. Next fall, we're going to be having 5 different programs. One of the programs is agricultural production. That really has 3 different areas. So there's the possibility to kind of go in animal science, crop science, and sustainable production systems. Tarsus obviously is in the bioenergy program. We also have the food science and human nutrition program and technical systems management. Those are run by the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences. We have a new program that started up this past fall, and that was in Geographic Information Science, and that's ran out of the College of LAS. At this time, I would like to let you guys ask us questions that you may have about the program. While you're thinking about those, I did have one emailed in to me, and the student wanted to know, what was the structure of the business classes? What did those really look like? I have no business background. Am I going to be stumped whenever I come in? And so, Grant, would you like to start and just kind of give a little bit of how you can come into the business classes without experience, and really what the structure of those classes look like?
You really do not need a business background or 4-year degree in business, or even a minor, really, to be able to understand the classes. Most of the business classes were 8-week modules where you have a College of Business professor going through, say, finance, and starting out with the very basic concepts of finances and going through just an introductory touch point into what you would come across, what the different financial theories are. Project management, again, you didn't really need much of a background there, but we learned a lot of really useful tools in terms of how do you look at a project, how do you plan a project, how do you measure whether or not you're on track, bringing, I guess, some teachings into the management financially of a project. So really, the business classes were very introductory, and I think most people in business will tell you anyways, you learn a lot of business while you're actually on the job, but it is actually nice having business class and coursework and or experience while you're sitting at the other end of the table of somebody interviewing you, and being able to differentiate yourself from, say, a very standard science student or somebody from a very research-intensive background.
Okay. Tarsus, do you have anything to add of what your business classes were like?
Yeah, I agree with what Grant said. You don't need to have that background. And one thing I really liked about the business courses is that they give you incentives to do things. So most of the classes I did, I had projects during the class that I had to do. And that helped me understand more of the business concepts. Like I took a class called Marketing Management in which I actually had to read cases on companies and study more and see how companies would react to different situations. So I think that model of business courses that we have is really good to get you going and learning how to actually do the concepts that you're learning in class by doing projects with other classmates.
And some of those other classmates are MBA students and technology management students as well, so they're getting a little bit of insight not only from other PSM students, but other students that are taking business courses as well. One thing I was going to have, since we have Tarsus on here, and Tarsus was an international student, is how adjusting to the university and to the U.S. was for an international student.
So I'm from Brazil. The culture shock to the U.S. is not that big. But I had a big shock with other cultures because there's a lot of people from different countries in the university here. But I guess the adaptation process goes pretty smoothly. So there's a lot of groups on campus. There's international groups on campus that can help you with that process, people that have been studying here already for a while that can help you get through. There are definitely resources on campus that can help you go through that and help you have more of a smooth transition into the U.S. culture. And the university definitely helps you a lot with that by having those programs. The Career Center also supports, it has programs for international students. Like I was able to be part of this international program with the Career Center where they taught us more about the American culture, the American business culture, mainly how to behave in interviews or the differences between different cultures and how to come to the U.S. and be able to respond to interviews and job searches the way people that were born here do. So it was really good to just be able to understand more of this culture and be able to bring your background into the U.S., especially when you're looking for internship.
Okay. Would either of you like to elaborate on, just some advice for students thinking about the program, maybe, why this was your choice versus other programs out there? And Tarsus, would you like to go ahead and start that?
Sure. So for me, as I said before, my background was mostly research for undergrad. So when I finished my undergrad, I decided that I wanted to have more of an industry focus, and I wanted to go to the industry, but not only work in an entry-level position, but move up higher in the company in a career path. So that's one of the main things that brought me to choose this professional science master's program. I did not have a business background, and I wanted to be able to learn more about it and couple that business understanding with the science background I already had. So while looking for programs in the U.S., I saw a lot of research-based master's and PhD programs, but what caught my attention was this idea of, as I said, putting together science and business. The U of I here also has different areas that the university is very good at, like engineering and science and business. So I thought it would be really interesting to come here and be able to use the resources from those different areas that the university is really good at in just one program. Also, a lot of the majors in the PSMs are related to agriculture, and the university is located in the Midwest here in the U.S., where there's a lot of agriculture. There's a lot of corn and soybean. So that's one thing that also caught my attention, and because the university does such an excellent job, it was good to come here and be able to learn in this program.
Okay, great. Grant, do you have anything to add to that?
A lot of the theme you heard about flexibility was definitely something that I really needed when I was at that point in my career where I was looking at my different options and just looking at just the wide variety of course offerings, just the flexibility, being able to use extracurricular or sort of outside the traditional realm of what the school is offering to strengthen your background, to give you working and real experience, and just to give you content and, just an edge over people when you're in an interview. I'd say that the program really was able to, just give me a lot of resource where I could actually go and figure out for myself, not only kind of like what I wanted to do or say like what industry I was interested in, but it also gave me a lot of different experiences to help me narrow down, what is it that I'm really good at? What is it that, I'm probably should lean away from? And yeah, I mean, I definitely did get the options that I was looking for open up to me. And like I said, I had time to collect and research and actually experience the things that would matter once I did get my degree and was looking for a full-time job.
All right. One of the questions that we just had, what the return on investment is like. So how does this program help, considering that some of them might have student loans after being in the program? Grant, I think you might be better at answering this one since you've been in the workforce for a little while.
Absolutely. When I was looking, I was trying to get information to answer the same question. And at the time, I believe the PSM organization had been around for, I guess, a bit over a decade. And there were studies that were showing some of the mean incomes after graduating, nationwide PSM degree, which is about, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Miranda, it's about $62,000 salary a year, which I landed kind of in that ballpark there. So looking at what my options would have been if I did not go to the program, looking at, say, an entry-level sales position or maybe some entry-level business or research position. Back when I was looking, those positions typically pay about $40,000 a year. So in kind of the industry that I work in, we tend to want to make our money back and then some within a 3-year financial horizon. So if you're looking and you're playing the averages, if you're looking for a 3-year payback on the degree, that's exactly what you get. And you also get the trajectory starting at $60,000 rather than a trajectory starting at $40,000 a year. In short, it paid off for me.
I think the 2014 stats that they had for the national PSM was that 73% started at least $50,000. So I know some of you that are on the call have already applied, and I know some of you are maybe thinking about the program. I really encourage you to talk with a faculty advisor. So myself and Natalie, who I'll introduce here in a couple of minutes, we really focus on the professional development side and really help with the business courses, and we'll help facilitate some of your science coursework. But really, your faculty advisor is going to be the one that's going to help you choose which science classes are going to be the most beneficial for your career. So I highly recommend that you reach out. I have their emails here. They're also listed on the website, and I encourage you to speak with one of those advisors when you're thinking about applying. If you are considering applying, it can all be done on our website. You go to psm.illinois.edu, and we have a little apply now. I've got it circled up there. And when you start your application, you just need to have a few things prepared. And the first thing is you need to have taken the GRE, and if you're international, usually you also have to have taken the TOEFL and supply both of those scores. We do ask that you provide 3 letters of recommendation, and usually those are coming from somebody that you've worked for or maybe some of the faculty that you've been in their classes. We also ask that you provide a personal statement, which usually that is something along the lines of why you want to be in the program, your future career goals, and how you think the two might align. And then finally, we're going to have you submit your transcripts as well. So those are kind of the things needed to apply to the program. And at this time, I'm going to let our director, Natalie Bosecker, say a couple of words. So Natalie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Great to hear all of the information that was presented today. I just wanted to follow up on one aspect. We do have a lot of our programs that do have some overlap, and you can use that to your advantage. Is there a specific perspective in the industry that you want to focus on? And maybe one major might serve that purpose better than another, and we can help you and assist you in making those decisions and connecting you with people to explore that a little bit. I also encourage you to take a look at careers that really interest you and do a little exploration about how that person got there and what sort of educational background that person came from to help make those decisions also. We do like to help students explore questions, especially when they come to your career path, and we do a lot of that in the professional development seminars. But the earlier you can identify that career path, even as an applicant and as part of your essay for the application, can help us advise you and get you connected with the people here on campus that can possibly help you make connections with industry. So just a couple things to consider. Miranda and I are always available for questions also, and we look forward to hearing from you and hopefully seeing several of you on campus this coming fall.
Thank you. I do have our contact information there. As Natalie said, you can contact us anytime. We'll be happy to chat with you. It's been a pleasure speaking with everyone this afternoon, and by all means, if you have further questions that maybe we didn't answer today, I would ask you to email or call us, and hopefully we can help you figure out if the PSM is the avenue you would like to go, or if maybe other programs are more suited for your career goals, as Natalie said. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar, and I thank you for attending.